next issue is how the Republic of Korea is handling this public diplomacy. Naturally, I'm a Korean senior diplomat. I'm concerned on this issue, right? And with this Korean approach on public diplomacy, I will tell you not only policy, not only strategy, but what is the general perception of the people from different countries on Korea, right? Sometimes there is a positive image, sometimes negative image. I'd like to share with you frankly on this point so that you can have better understanding on Korea. Our preoccupation on Korea is very much focused on general negative or like a misperception on Korea. We call it like Korea discount, right? With the Korean War, division, a country of struggle, violence, and there is instability on the Korean Peninsula. So this is after 50, 60 years, right? Negative narrative on Korea. Now we can call it Korea premium, even like a K-pop with many advancement of Korea in terms of economic development and full-fledged democracy and freedom of media, religion, anything, conscience. So we are very proud to tell the international audience that we are not anymore like is suffering with Korea discount, right? We are very proud to be positioned member of OECD and member of DAC. DAC is DAC, Development Assistance Committee, which is like assembly of donor countries, only single country in the world which has been transformed from recipient country to donor country, right? Donor country has a very strict terminology in OECD and DAC. And also 11th and 12th largest economy in the world, right? Full democratization. So, we have like a poll in Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I love Korea because something, right? So there are, I'm not sure you see the, all detailed thing. The first top area is like K-pop. 769 people voted I love because K-pop, because of K-pop, right? And the second is natural beauty and sceneries, and also tourist attraction, 600 something. And Korean food, I believe that you like it, right? And more than 600 cases. And also traditional culture, around 500. And drama and movie, almost 500. And Korean people itself, right? People, 300. And economic development and advanced technology, ICT, 300. And Korean language, around 200. And Korean history, 100. Sports, 88 cases. And also fashion, cosmetics, a very convenient public transportation system, right? It's like a few cases. And also maybe someone can say that 24 hours opening of a restaurant and free and immediate delivery, right, of any food or any necessities, right, around your home. So this is a change. How Korea is trying to improve our national image in a positive way in international society. There are three, different areas. One is capturing foreign public's interest on Korean traditional and pop culture, right? Like K-pop, K-drama, K-movie, and also traditional art, music. You see the like Gayagum, Gomungo, many folk dance, right? Arirang, those things. And capturing foreign public's understanding of Korea's policies, facts, and knowledge. As you see in four categories, right? There's a policy explanation and knowledge sharing and information sharing. So we are combining those two pillars in capturing what is Korea's unification policy, right? What is our country's overall policy in terms of like democracy, in terms of human rights, in terms of development, in terms of for the peace and security around the world, right? And facts and knowledge means that how what is the element of and motivation of Korean development? What was the right strategy of former leaders like Lee Seung-man, Park Chung-hee, and following leaders? What is the factor that direct and confine or even promote Korean development in this way, right? So what is the role of education, right? What is the role of so-called motivation approach on this national building, like can-do spirit, as you see some like a new village movement in Semaul-Undong in 70s, something like that. So there are many narratives, right? But we need a very sound and proper narrative on this issue. So maintaining good relations through giving, sharing, serving, and sharing. This is what you are trying to do. So with this all a mixture of all those and also parallel approach on those issues, we are trying to bolster our national image, reputation, and perception. So we would like to say that Korea matters, as I introduced as a beginning, as a title, and all that Korea, right? The totality of Korea could be well projected and exposed to international audience with the so-called nation brand. What is different between nation brand and national brand? I will start with national brand. National brand, what is the Korea's national brand, right? Samsung, LG, Hyundai, this is a national brand, very famous Korean brand. Nation brand means that what is the first image on Korea, right? A country of like K-pop or country of, Samsung, right? Even though Samsung could be used as a national brand, but it could be interpreted as a nation brand because when we have a poll, when I was in Ministry of Foreign Affairs a few years ago, on what is your first impression on Korea, they marked just Samsung as a simple way of reminding Korea. It's understandable, right, in my view. So nation brand means that some keywords that represent Korea, right? Sometimes like traditionally Korea was known as like a country of a morning calm, very calm, comfortable country, like a rural, country image. But now, what is the keywords of Korea at this moment? Representing Korea's image. Maybe you can say like a dynamic, right? So those things are nation brand. We are trying to improve our nation brand, right? Korea's policy on public diplomacy, we are putting the people first in public diplomacy. public diplomacy together with the people in Korea. Of course, in its definition, public diplomacy is trying to tell the international audience, general public of other country on Korea, but at the same time, we need the engagement of ordinary people on this issue, because we have to understand what is the general feeling of Korean people on the image of Korea. So we need more internal interaction on this issue, and initiated by the public and supported by the government. The second part is a contextualized message and people's exchange and mutual respect and understanding and mutuality, so-called. This is a very important aspect which differentiate from the traditional public diplomacy based on, as I told you, propaganda, one-sided, message delivery. So we have to take into account other countries' special, like a civilization, even religion or customs and policies and diplomatic consideration. So we can call it contextualization, right? We have to take into account local or national context of other country. We have to keep like a respect and openness toward the other countries and host countries' perspective. We cannot impose, we cannot tell our story, without hearing from or listening to the views and comments from other countries. It should be two-way dialogue. It should be way of understanding better. It should be way of respecting others' view and mindset and perspectives. So this is very natural way of understanding each other and taking positive point, right, from the other side. And also, our policy should center on the beyond Hallyu or K-pop. We are too much focusing on sometimes K-pop and Hallyu, but I don't think this is the everything on Korea, right? Public diplomacy carries the full and comprehensive message of Korea. What could be, like Korea's rich history with 5,000 years of our tradition and civilization. We respect academia very much, and we are the people who would like to read the many books, right? And we like, writing, reading, and discussion. And we are trying to respect people's basic human rights from early, in Joseon Dynasty. We are trying to control and regulate, power of leadership in many different ways, right? So we have the system of appealing on a king's policy with the so-called 상소, is meaning that we are have a communication route to send people's or middle class government officials message to criticize or give a critical comment on certain policy of a king or government. And also cultural heritage, right? Many traditional art, music, and folk song, and tradition, customs, those things. And experience of economic growth, international aid work, national vision, and foreign policy postures, including unification policy or inter-Korean dialogue, many things. So Korea matters. This is one important slogan, right? And all that Korea is. We don't want to touch only one-sided aspect of Korea. We would like to give you total narrative, total explanation on Korea in political aspect, diplomatic aspect, and economic aspect, cultural aspect, and people's mindset approach. So all those things should be exposed to foreign people. What is the good asset of Korea's public diplomacy? We have a simultaneous progression of economic growth and democratization, right? So this is a very rare case for any developing countries. So this could be a role model for developing countries, good experience of economic development strategy. In the 70s, early 70s, then President Park Chung-hee made a very bold industrial strategy to bring, chemical or heavy industries like steel, shipbuilding, and chemical factories, and later stage automobile. It was not based on like a typical, economic textbook way, right? So like a division of labor. Those situation in Korea in 70s should focus on very much manufactured product, like garment, shoes, those very primitive industry. But the visionary strategy of leaders in those days was a good base for the current economic development of Korea, right? So we are advancing automobile, semiconductor, electronics, even civilian nuclear area. So shipbuilding, whatever you call it, in major industries, Korea advancing. And bridging role between developing and developed countries, right? So we, as I told you, we are only country in the world which experience with the recipient and also donor countries. In international setting, in United Nations, I experienced that our voices could be very good to have a bridging role between two voices from developing and developed countries. A peaceful country with no record of aggression, right? No occupation, no colonization. A country of Jung, I'm not sure you heard about this word, a single word, deep affection, which is something beyond of like love. Sometimes you are in difficult period or good period, your relationship will sustain. This is what Jung is all about. This is a very typical expression of Korean people's mindset. Hardworking, diligent people, nation brand, you can call it, we are beloved Korea, and also we are very compassionate Korea to help people around the world. And also variety of contents embodying creativity and innovation, right? ICT area, we are always introducing new way of like internet, cyber world, 4G, now 5G is commercialized quite quickly in Korea's daily life. You can see anything in subway or any place in Seoul and even other part of Korea. Virtual circle and good mixture of the modern and the traditional, right? So now you see some resurrection of Korean traditional cultural heritage like hanbok and Korean food, and folk songs. You see in every Sunday that there are so many young people wearing hanbok, right, in Insadong area, because that is a good incentive, right, to entering like a museum. Triggered by K-pop and Hallyu, the Korean wave, foreigners are now interested in Korea's modern and traditional culture, together with together in its foreign policies as well. So as we are triggering point is like a culture, right? K-pop, but K-drama and food. But now foreigners are interested in what is the foreign policy of Korea, right? What is they are trying to help people in need around the world? What is their development policy? What is their assistance policy, right? What is their humanitarian assistance policy? So they are interested in those areas as well. There is one poll in October 2012 when I was in Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a Director General for Cultural Affairs. We have a poll. What is the positive and negative image of Korea? Positive image includes some like entertainment, high tech, approachability of Korean. People's good, very kind and pleasant, and food, economic development, traditional culture, history, tourism, commitment to education, diligence, convenience of public transportation, right? Safety, security, 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? As you imagine, as I told you. Negative image, North Korea, language barrier, plastic surgery, right? And excessive focus on education, right? 입시 지옥 is sometimes, young people's difficulty in schools and education. Racism, suicide rate, drinking culture, obsession with beauty and looks, rude taxi drivers. Someone may be experiencing in first arrival in Korea, workaholism, right? Maybe someone will share, this thing, and maybe someone has more, sometimes positive aspect, sometimes negative aspect, right? So this is all related to your daily life in Korea, particularly when you are in Korea, living more than several months, right? If it is several years, it is better. You have your own first-hand impression on Korea and Korean people, right? And also this episode or impression could be fixed through foreign people's encounter with Korean people in third world setting, right? In any conference or any a tourism way, you can meet with Korean people in third world, like Paris, London, and also students abroad, study abroad. You can meet with Korean students in the United States, right? In Canada. So you will find certain perception on Korea, right? Whether it is good or negative. So eventually, I think your interaction with certain Korean friends or certain Korean people, even through me, you will. This is a process, right? Process of interacting with Korean people and also Korean culture and social reality. You will get some image on Korea, right? But eventually, I think the image you will get from certain Korean people, whether it is one person or in a collective way from certain community or group, that is a more important aspect in figuring out your image on Korea. So I hope that you can meet with good friend coming from Korea. So this is very critical. Let me also touch upon some specific foreign, public diplomacy program of Korea. Make effort to improve foreign textbook to have accurate information about Korea. This is the area usually is neglected, but I think this is important. There are so many tourists are coming from different world to Korea for study or for work, right? And many, to intercultural marriage. many ways. But there are so many people around the world, who even did not have any opportunity to visit Korea and even to see Korean drama and cultural thing. So they are learning Korea from school, right? In middle school, high school, they are learning history, right? And East Asia, traditionally, China and Japan, has been occupying the East Asia part dominantly, right? Naturally. But recently, Korea is occupying more, spaces, right? In the East Asia part. But as you see in, this is case of the textbook of Netherlands. In left-hand side, it was changed quite recently. Up until a few years ago, in the left-hand side, Korea is ocean, country, and the fisheries are very important. And it was treated with a very cheap labor. It was it will be distributed and sold in supermarket in like product. So it is story of like a 70s, right? We are no more. Of course, we are doing this thing, but this image is not representing exactly what Korea's situation in this time, right? So we are trying to send many information and also many video and pictures. Now they are changing the narrative like this, right? Korea has been developing since 1960s. Now is one of the most highly advanced, industrial country, and high income country in the world. More top-notch, advanced smartphone, digital TV, and automobile, and shipbuilding, and they are exporting those high-tech product, right? So this is a new narrative. It was changed with this thing. So I think this is very important, way of handling, because the power of textbook is quite magnificent, right? All around the world. So we are trying to check the current textbook and also try to change the contents of textbook on Korea. You know why this kind of thing is happening? Textbook is very conservative, right? It's not easy to change it. They have committee, many process. But Korea is developing so quickly, so rapidly. So textbook around the world cannot catch this swift change of Korea's development, right? In economic area as well as democratization. Invite foreign power bloggers, particularly like China, Lee Sin-pin, and Chen Yibing, very famous sportsman, also media experts, and K-pop World Festival, K-food, and also K-pop World Festival, very famous, forum in Changwon in southern part of Korea. Every year we have a preliminary contest at 60 different regions and in 6 regions and also 44 countries applying, and final like 12 teams are coming to Changwon every year for the final, right? So this is a way of, Psy and BTS is typical one-on-one, and CN Blue. So there are many teams, right? And K-pop. And also anniversary program of celebrating diplomatic relations with foreign countries. Every 10 years, we have a big event of two-way cultural event in each capital to invite the dignitaries of that country as an official way to exchange and promote culture each other. Scholar groups for public diplomacy. We are selecting several scholars who are studying in Korea currently, and ask them what is your perception and impression on Korea. So they are trying to write an op-ed article in the major newspaper. For Korean public, we are selecting a few ideas and give some award on this area. And also we are trying to mobilize some youth group to get their idea on public diplomacy program, and also senior public diplomacy delegation to share their experience on Korea. Partnership with the citizens, government and citizens are working together. 50 million domestic Korean people. There is also 7.2 million Korean diaspora around the world, right? So even in United States, we have 2.5 million Korean communities, and China, Japan, and Europe, whole around the world. I think almost 200 countries. There are at least 1 or 2 Korean people. NGOs are working together, and this is exactly what we are trying to do. Korea is trying to, project our image, of course, in a positive way. But we don't want to try to impose our facts, information, and foreign policy, even K-pop, in a one-way style. We would like to enjoy and work together with the people of other country to have better understanding on Korea, history, facts, and foreign policy and cultural thing. But at the same time, we are trying to have their own culture, to be incorporated in this whole process. So some Korean cultural center, there are now 25, 26 Korean cultural center around the world. Some Korean cultural center abroad, they are, usually they are having program, right, to promote Korean cultural thing. But some Korean cultural center, they are trying to set up a program to invite local and host countries' cultural team, right, in Korean cultural center. So I think this is a very innovative way to have like a mutual understanding, right? To understand the local culture and also to share Korean culture could be good way of mutual understanding and respect. So this will make our policy, more solid and stable, right? Without the positive perception of people of other country, of like country B, this country A cannot, provide good foreign policy, program, because it's not working, because of very, adverse and negative perception from country B, general people of country B. How, country A can deliver their foreign policy toward country B, right? So this is fundamental approach, and Korea is trying to have this kind of mutuality and two-way interactive public diplomacy program. And also, as we are getting help and assistance from advanced country during our development period, like 70s, 80s, and 90s, and now we are trying to help, in return to the country and people in need around the world. So we are increasing our ODA level as much as possible, and also we are engaging almost all important humanitarian assistance and also nation building assistance and peace building process around the world in the United Nations and all UN system. So this is what Korea is trying to do, right? As a caring, sharing, serving, and also two-way traffic, and also increase mutuality. So this is what Korea is trying to do.